Editing images with deep black in the photos, like of crows or different types of birds, where it's very prominent in them, can be one of the most annoying parts of photo editing there is, because it's very hard to pull the texture and clarity out of those specific parts of the photo. Today's video, we're going to be going all over that. We're going to be going over two different photos, one with my Canon R10 and another photo with a much older camera, a T3i, so you can see how to edit these and the differences you're going to want to use to get the maximum texture and sharpness out of these photos. So without further ado, let's get into Photoshop, or Lightroom, I suppose, and start editing. So in this tutorial today, we're going to be going and using two separate pictures to make this example. We're going to be using one from the Canon R10, which is a current camera, and then we're going to also be looking at the Canon T3i, which is a much older camera, but we're going to see if we can still get the same effects. So right now, all I've done to this video, to this picture, I'll say, is I've cropped it. So look at the original, I cropped it pretty heavily in, and then I've also made a mask. So I've made a few different masks. One, I used a subject detection, which captured the whole bird, and it captured this weird section around the bird itself. So I used a brush, and I used the minus tool to minus around the bird, just so I have it exactly. And then I also used it to minus some of the whites. So the whites in here, because I don't really want the same effect into here as I do the blacks. And same with the red. I removed the red itself. I could probably do this one as well, but for this sake, we are just going to use the black parts here. So our first step is we want to go down to the effects, and we want to increase these ones, the texture, the clarity, and the dehaze. So we're adding more clarity. We're going to add a lot of texture. As you can see, it's making these feathers kind of pop out. And we're going to be using, you can use the dehaze backwards. See, now it's really bringing out some of the feathers here. But it's also giving a little bit of a black, like more of a gray look than a black. So we can go in here and we can go in and put the blacks down just a touch, just to where you want the lines to show, but not get muted as the black takes over. So I think maybe about there looks good. So you can see each individual feather, while also showing that the bird is indeed black. You can also increase the sharpness if you'd like. You can add more texture. It's really completely up to you. But as you can see, it's now showing the bird. And you don't want to over sharpen things or take things too extreme, because then it can kind of look almost cartoonish, sort of. See, we're cranking everything up. Now I'm going too white. Okay, anyways. Or going too black. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's your artistic representation of what you want your pictures to look at or look like. But just remember, don't take it too far in one way or the other, in my humble opinion, because you still want it to be a realistic look of the bird. If you're liking how the first picture has gone so far, I would really appreciate it if you liked and comment, and especially subscribe to the channel. We're at 22 subscribers at the moment, so if we can get it bumped up there to maybe even 30, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, thank you to everyone so far that have subscribed, especially from the last video. I noticed a huge uptick, and it really made me happy to see that. So again, thank you to everybody. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that button, that'd be super appreciated. On to the next picture. Now, in our next picture, we are going to take a look at a picture I took a long time ago. This is of my cat. And you can see here, if you go to information, it's taken with the Rebel T3i and the basic kit lens, EFS 18 to 55 f3.5 to 5.6 IS2. Good lens, older kit. But as you can see here with this cat, I've cropped it in quite a bit to get this look super close. And then I've also now put a mask. I use the subject detect on the cat itself. And then I've used 2 radial gradients or 1 radial gradient for the eye. And then we'll add another one. Don't ask me why I moved that from one side to the other. I did it. No, that's fake. I don't want to do that. Or that's not what I want to do. We want to go minus. Minus is how we're going to make it stand out. We want to go minus. Minus is how we're going to want it to stand out. So we will go like this, and we'll make another one. So you're using the minus and the radial gradient, and this is a great way to make sure the eyes don't get affected by the black. Because if you want the yellows of the eyes, or whatever the animal's eyes is, to stand out, you don't want the same effect to be going on the black. It just wouldn't make sense with how the colors are different with the eyes. All right, so here we are with the cat. We are going to do what we did with the bird. We're going to increase the clarity. We're going to increase the texture. And we are going to, you can go minus on the haze if you'd like. Now you can see this has kind of produced the effect where the cat really doesn't look black so much anymore. So you can saturate it a bit. So you can even just lower the exposure a bit, and that'll help get the black look a little bit more. But again, you want to make sure that you're still getting the texture of the look and the highlights of the actual fur itself. Now that's made it stick out a bit better. You can even play with the colors a little bit if you want the cat to kind of blend in. As you can see, it's quite a warm light that's on the cat. Decrease some of this saturation. There we go. That's what you want. So now we've got the texture of the cat. We can see that there's a lot more clarity in the fur. As far as I'm concerned, let's go and reset the edit here. And to reset your edits, if you want to go back and start fresh, all you can do is go here, 3 dots, and then reset edits, or Control R. And what a difference that is. But again, it's mostly up to artistic interpretation. If you don't want the shinier look, you can bring the whites down a bit, and therefore you got more of a darker look, which I think maybe that even looks the best out of all the 3. That way it's not super shiny and you still have that black look, but it does still keep some of the texture as compared to, we'll show the original now. You can do a backslash or just click show original compared to that. It doesn't look as muddled. I personally find in that one, I don't know. Black cat doesn't really scream it in my mind. But you go here, do these edits, makes the cat pop out just that much more. And if you really want to, it's pretty blurred from here. And some people don't use this. You could use, let's go remove these. Oh, there you go. This is an old picture. I didn't realize these weren't even clicked. But you could add something like a lens blur. Now, this is just to add like a fake blur. So use it sparingly. Sometimes it comes off kind of computerish or fake. And if it is the case, then, definitely don't go with the lens blur, especially if you have like a 50mm at the 1.8, where you can make your own blur manually. But you can see here, we can keep the look. So I've moved this focal range bar. I've had it so it's in a lot closer. And I don't see some of this part right here. As you can see, it's starting to clip in just a little bit. So we will bring this back just to make it look not as fake. See, it still looks fake. And this is why you probably shouldn't use it. It's not the greatest tool. But if that's all you got, I mean, you have to do what you got to do. It'll work at a pinch. And you can adjust this slider bar to exactly what you think is going to be the best look. I think that's starting to look better. It's still a little bit choppy, but we can keep adjusting it until our absolute heart's content. But as you can see, it makes the cat stand out just that much more in the picture. Anyways, this was supposed to be just a tutorial on black, but apparently we've gone into lens blur a little bit. But that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. See, there we go. We got it. See, it looks much better here. Now you don't have that computer cut off. You can still see the fur. Anyways, thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate everything that's been done so far. And we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. And that's all there is to it, to getting more texture and clarity in the black parts of your image. As you can see with the cat, we were able to make drastic improvements on the fur, even when we're using an older camera. And with the one with the bird with the R10, we made amazing changes with just a few simple movements and some actual focus on the black parts itself instead of just trying to edit the image as a whole. So I hope you found this useful and you're going to be able to turn your pictures into works of art. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you again for watching the video. My name is Dylan, I'm a photographer from the Edmonton area. I would greatly appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.